tuning in. Today's topic is going to be VIC-3 headsets. I've been getting quite a lot of conversations and questions and emails and text messages on, hey Ruben, which headset do I want? Which headset do I need? And what's the differences amongst them? I clearly don't have all the possible headsets that are out in the market, but I do have, and I do sell 3 of the most readily available ones. And the ones that are most practical for the type of things that I tend to do and the type of people that I tend to interact with. And I've got them listed, or I've got them laid out here from the cheapest to most expensive. And we're going to discuss some of the differences amongst them. Obviously, I will post a link on the bottom of this where you can go and purchase each one of them. You're more than welcome to purchase from me or anybody else. The intent of this video is to educate you. You decide where you wish to purchase them. So we're going to start with the Raycall ones. And the thing that stands out to me the most from a negative on these headsets is the weight. They're a little bit heavier. Now, if somebody doesn't mention that to you, you probably won't think about it and you'll just assume that's what the weight should be on headsets. But having had multiple different types of headsets and used multiple different types of headsets, I can tell you that the weight is noticeably higher on these Raycall ones versus Bose Series One or Bose Series Two. Is there a dramatic difference? No, absolutely not. It's not a dramatic difference. Is there a difference? Yes, there is a difference. So that's on the negative side of it. What do I like about these headsets is 2 things. Number one is I prefer the push-to-talk on this headset versus Bose Series One, because I have a toggle switch on top where I can toggle between constantly transmitting or push-to-talk where I can push and then speak. And on the Series One, which we'll show you, is that same buttons here in the middle, and therefore I have to go from this to this, and sometimes that button gets caught up on things. And the other feature that's nice on it is that there's a little clip here where you can clip this onto your vest, so it's stationary, it's fixed, and it's not constantly dangling around. And quite a bit of that weight, quite honestly, is the push-to-talk button function feature, whatever you want to call it. So once that's fixed on your chest, then you no longer have that extra weight hanging on your ear like you will on the Series Ones. Another thing that I don't prefer on these headsets is how you access the battery port. The way you access the battery port is you've got this little wheel in the middle that you have to kind of wheel your way out, and then you've kind of got to assume whether you wheeled it all the way out or not. And you've kind of got to lift it and it comes out, and that's where your AA battery would go. All 3 of these take a AA battery. Your natural inclination is to think that you need a battery to function the headsets. No, you don't. The headsets will function just fine without the batteries. What the batteries allow you to do is to activate the noise canceling feature that all 3 of them have. So, sure, it's a little bit of a negative that I'm pointing out, but honestly, how often do you need to access the battery port? Not very frequently. And is it really that important? No, I don't think it's very important. It is what it is. Do I wish it was a little bit easier to get to? Yeah, but is it hard to get to it? No, it's not. So that's one thing that I will ding these headsets on, is that the battery port is not as easy to access. Again, recap, it's a little bit heavier. The battery port is not as easy to access, but the pros are it's significantly cheaper to get into market with these than any of the Bose products. Naturally, Bose is at a higher price point, but from a functionality perspective, it's just as good as any of the other 2. I have not personally noticed any sound quality differences in all 3 of them. Just for this one, it's a little bit heavier, and I don't like how you access the battery. But once again, you've got a toggle switch here that will activate your ability to speak or not. you've got a push button here in the middle, and that push button, quite honestly, is simply to activate and deactivate the noise canceling features of this headset. So this is the cheapest one that is available typically in the market. The next one in line is the Bose Series One. These headsets are lighter than the Raycall ones. That is definitely correct and definitely true. Sound quality is just as good, fantastic. In fact, I think one thing I didn't mention, and you'll see this in all of them. So down here on the bottom is where you have the speakers for the noise canceling functions and such. And I'm not sure if the speaker is the right word for them, but that's what basically tunes out that ambient noise around you and such. So it's a little bit lighter. What do I not appreciate about the Bose headsets is a couple of things. Number one, yeah, it's got this little clip where you can kind of clip it on you sideways, but it feels weird. It's kind of separate from the push to talk, so the push to talk can still kind of stick out and dangle around, and it's just not very practical. I'm not a big fan of this. I've never actually used this clip, and I forget that it's there most of the time, so I'm not a fan of the clip for the Bose Series One. The other thing that I'm not a fan of is the push to talk button, as I mentioned earlier. Yeah, it's accessible with your thumb. I just don't like it. It's protruding out too much. It gets caught on things. Not a big deal, quite honestly, but I'm not a big fan of the push to talk function or the push to talk buttons for the Series One. This is where you would access the battery port for the Series One. It's pretty simple. It's got a little screw that you can use a flathead to undo it, or your fingers. You open it, drop your battery in there, close it, and essentially you're done, and you can use your noise canceling. For the Series One, the noise canceling function is activated and deactivated from the side. It's got a little switch, either off or on, and it's got a 0 and a 1 that kind of tells you whether you're on or off. And that's that for the Bose Series One. This is the Bose Series Two. According to Bose, last time I looked on one of their marketing slicks or marketing slides, I forget if they said the Series 2 is 33% lighter, so let's just call it 30. But essentially, according to Bose, it's at least 30% lighter than Bose Series 1. I honestly can't tell the difference. I've held both, I've used both. I can't tell the difference in weight between Series 2 and Series 1. I'm sure if we put it on a scale, there will be a difference. Obviously, they're not going to lie about it. I just can't tell the difference from a user's perspective. Sound quality wise, they sound basically the same to me. Don't notice a big difference between the two of them. What I definitely like about the Series 2 is the push to talk. Once again, I'm not forced to, kind of just reach over with my thumb and try to use that toggle switch and get it stuck on things. I've got a flush, clean surface here. Nothing's going to get caught on anything. And I just simply use my front two fingers to activate and deactivate the push to talk function or not. And right above, I have the toggle switch for the noise canceling or not. And finally, if I turn it around on the very back, I've got this nice big clip where I can clip it onto a vest or whatever is around me, and I can just have that extra weight off of my ears. So I really enjoy and I really prefer the push to talk features of Bose Series 2 out of all three of them. But as you can expect, Bose Series 2 is going to be the most expensive one out of the three. So in conclusion, all three of them function the same when it comes to sound quality, at least according to my experiences. All three of them have noise canceling. All three of them have use the same AA battery to utilize noise canceling. All three of them have push to talk. Really comes down to two things. Number one, what's the price point that you're interested in? Are you interested in best of the best, and price is not an object, or money is not an object for you, or you know, you're going to be displaying this vehicle and you want the most recent and you want the best one in there, or you know, for you just want functionality. You know, you don't need to have the best of the best, and as long as it functions, it gives you the same features, then you're fantastically happy with the Raycall ones. Or do you want to go mid-grade and get Bose Series Ones? The noticeable differences comes down to weight. Again, there's a little bit of a higher weight on the Raycall ones, but since you have the better or the good clipping mechanism for the Raycall push-to-talk versus Bose Series One push-to-talk clip, you can just clip this on your vest and you've just deleted probably a good 20–30% of the weight right there, because it's on your chest versus dangling on your ear. And that's pretty much it. It just comes down to weight and price point, and what do you prefer? You prefer the most recent, or are you okay with one that is not as fancy and doesn't have the fancy name of Bose, but yet functions just as well? So feel free to check them out. I will put a link in the description for all three of the headsets that I have available. Believe it or not, I have a lot more Series 2 and Raycalls than I have Series 1s. And you kind of decide which one is best for you, and you decide whether you need to buy it from me or someone else. It makes no difference. The point of this video is to educate you. So next time somebody messages me or texts me asking what the difference is, I can just send them a link and not have to sit there and write a whole paragraph on what I like and what I don't like between the three of them. So if you enjoyed this video or you got some value out of this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up, feel free to share it. Or if you have any feedback, feel free to put it in the comments. I still owe you guys a video on the different cables that are needed for a VIC-3 setup, and we will get that out there as soon as we realistically can. So enjoy, share, and good luck on your VIC-3 ventures.